Okay, hello everybody. This is Daniel Judge again. We're going to go ahead and get started with our sleep analysis webinar. We really appreciate everybody joining us today, and we've got a few things we want to go over before we start. So we've got two panelists here today. That's myself, Daniel Judge. I'm a senior software engineer here at ActiGraph. Also joining me is Richard Shaw. On there it says that I'm the presenter. That's reversing for this webinar. I will be the moderator taking all the questions and answers through the interaction that you have on your screen, and Richard will actually be the presenter. So a couple of things to let you know. If you today's presentation is about 60 minutes. If you have to leave early or know somebody who couldn't make it, we archive all of our webinars on our website, which is shown above. If you just go to theactigraph.com, it's pretty easy to find. Today's webinar is audio only. You can either play it through your speakers on your computer. I hope you can hear me. If not, there's a few troubleshooting things you can do, or you can call in via the number provided. As I said, I'll be the QA and moderator today, and if you have a question during the webinar, feel free to open up the questions box in the webinar, the GoToWebinar tool as shown on the screen. If there's something that is specific enough that everybody needs to know about it, I'll most likely either answer that in that chat box, or I'll answer it verbally so that everybody hears it. Please use the question box and not the chat one. And finally, before we get started, I'd like to remind you that at the end of the webinar, a short survey will be shown. It's a quick 5 or 7 question survey, and it will pop up immediately. I know right here on our screen it says it'll be an email survey. It actually pops up as soon as we're done here in the webinar. So please take just a moment of your time, because your responses drive our development. We're computer scientists and electrical engineers. We're not sleep specialists, so if there's something you want to see in there that we can do better, we would really like to hear about that. So today's outline for what Richard will be talking about: a few things: device interaction, how you need to set up your devices for sleep, where to wear it for sleep, some general sleep analysis. We'll go through our tab in ActiLife on how to add sleep scores and do some automatic scoring that we provide. Also, we'll talk about the periodic limb movement tool that we have in ActiLife, and we'll also show a few of our latest and upcoming features. So for now, I will pass over the presentation to Richard Shaw, and he will go through our sleep analysis tools in ActiLife. And as I said, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the webinar chat box. So, Richard?
All right, so let's get started. The first thing I want to start covering is device interaction. Where and how you wear the device for sleep, initializing a device for sleep analysis, and downloading a device for sleep analysis as well. So let's discuss some of these points. First off, positioning of the device. Sleep scoring algorithms have been developed with the device worn on the non-dominant wrist. So keep that in mind when you're giving out the device to patients or subjects. When initializing the newer ActiSleep device, it is recommended to configure it to a 30 Hz epoch to allow for longer recording times. So I want to show right here on our screen we have ActiLife with an active sleep device attached. So I want to give you a brief demonstration and show you what the initialization screen shows. So let's go ahead and start that. Okay, I mentioned that it's recommended to choose 30 Hertz to provide the longest possible time for recording and battery life. We have a few options here, but basically this is just a preference if you want the light on the device to flash or not. It's actually not really helpful in the data collection period because all you need to have is just a sample rate. You can have a start time just in case you want the device to start a little bit later than not immediately. And that's basically it for initializing the ActiSleep device. At this point, you would just enter the subject info, something to help identify the data on this device when you get it back from a subject, just in case maybe you have a few devices coming back. Then you can fill out all the fields right there, and then when you're ready, you would just hit initialize, and the device will be ready to go at the time you had it ready. So I'm going to close out of this. Now, when downloading the data from the device, we recommend creating a 60-second epic AED file. So I want to go ahead and show you what the download dialog looks like after, for your device. So the scenario would be you sent out this device to the subject, and now they have brought it back after, let's say, a week or so, and now you want to retrieve the data from the device. So this is our downloads options dialog. There's a lot of options here. Most of it's unnecessary for what we're aiming for today. We're going to go ahead and focus on the right side of this dialog, and you'll notice right here the create AED file. By default, this is available. So we're going to go ahead and I want to go through these steps right here. We're going to set the epic value to 60, which is recommended. And you can, however, as a matter of fact, choose 10 or even 30 for custom algorithms that we'll get into later. But I'll just keep it at 60 for now. You can have the number of access you really need. We'll recommend at 3. And these options, by default, are also recommended. You'll also notice that it says right here, select 1 second for PLM analysis. PLM analysis require a very high resolution of data due to the short activity periods that PLM incurs. Fast leg movement, for example. So you want to catch that as quick as possible, and 1 second is recommended and required for that. So we're going to actually go ahead and click download all devices. We already have this one, so we're going to say yes. Okay, as you can see, downloading doesn't take any time at all. It's right now creating that AED file so we can use that later. While this is doing this, I wanted to discuss another feature that will be very helpful. It's called templating. Let's see. ActiLife templates can help combine effort. It will take a simple file and you can pass it out to your study group or other users that are in the same mission as you, and you can unify all data. So if we'll go to the ActiSleep Plus tab here, you'll see that we're going to enable it, and we'll set a default sample rate. We're going to set it to 30. This example right here demonstrates that when you save this file and use it in ActiLife, and then when you give it to other users, ActiLife will be forced to use a 30 Hertz epic length for that device. And that's it. You won't be able to change it. And so this might be useful across multiple sites that just need to unify their data. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get out of this. Okay, so our download is finished. We have the option to take a look at the data quickly using this feature right here. And it'll just show us really quick what's on this data file. But that's not the scope of today's webinar, so we're going to go ahead and close out of that. And now we're going to move to the Sleep Analysis tab. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and load a file here, so we can just go ahead and jump right in. Immediately, you can see that we have various graphs over various days showing a lot of different kinds of activity here. But first, let's go ahead and discuss the default algorithms that ActiLife provides you and how this data is possible. So if you go to the top right, you'll notice this drop down where it says algorithm. And right now it says cold Kripke. That's one of the two that we provide. Cold Kripke and Sedai algorithms. Sedai algorithms are developed for children, and cold Kripke algorithms are developed for adults. You can use either one, and they'll just take effect immediately. Another feature that we have here in ActiLife in the sleep analysis area is the ability to create custom algorithms to meet your needs. Here, let me start that over again. I went a little too fast. Right here, you'll notice we have a create new. Just simply clicking that brings up this custom sleep scoring parameter form. Now, because this is still new to me, I want to actually request information from my partner here, Daniel, and he's going to give some insight on this.
Absolutely, Richard. So our custom sleep algorithm was developed for the advanced user who wants to be able to fine-tune the sleep scoring based on the specific population that they're looking at. So the way our custom algorithm works, and actually the way that the other two, Sedai and cold Kripke algorithms work, is based on a window of activity. So in this case, in the default view that we have here, we actually show 5 total epochs. So we have, so for example, if we're looking at the in-bed time of 10 p.m., for example, that's this middle part. So to determine whether or not someone is awake or asleep, we take the values of activity for the current epoch that we're in, and in this case, the 2 previous and the 2 after. And each of those activity levels are given a weight. So you'll see down here at the bottom, we actually show a formula that is automatically generated based on the code. So for example, if I change this to 0.10, so just do 10, no, go back. So if I change that to 0.10 and update it, we actually automatically update the formula down here at the bottom, so you can see exactly how it would determine for an epoch if it's sleep or wake. So we have a few other things that help with that. So we have what we call our wake threshold. So based on this formula here, when we plug in the activity levels, if that's above or equal to 10, then we mark it as a wake time. So we can use, the nice thing about this custom algorithms is we allow you to use more than just the y-axis. Our previous two, the Sedai and cold Kripke algorithms, are based on the y-axis, the axis 1, which is the vertical axis. In the custom algorithm, you are allowed to use any of the axes, including vector magnitude, which is a combination of all 3 axes. So that's a general overview of our custom sleep algorithms.
Okay, thank you, Daniel, for that. All right, so after algorithms, let's go ahead and discuss how we can start making use of these graphs to obtain data back from these graphs here. So I'm going to demonstrate how to add time in bed and out of bed periods there's actually several different ways of doing this. I want to go ahead and just cover the manual ways. First, you can add sleep times using the Add Sleep Period button shown right here. So we're going to go ahead and click that. We'll get this new form. And in this form, you'll see that we have an in-bed date and time and an out-bed date and time. So we're going to go ahead and just use the defaults here. You can actually change these to be anything you need, but they do automatically get in between the start and end of the data period. So you're not trying to shift back into the correct area. So we have that set up for you. So we're going to go ahead and just say 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. are pretty acceptable times for in bed. I'm going to say accept. Okay, a few things to notice here immediately. First one, your new period has been added here. Second, we have highlighted that time span in the date on the graph that you've selected. You can do this as many times as you need for a single day or multiple days. It's just you keep adding them and they'll keep showing up and you'll still get the results you require from them. The second way of adding a sleep period is to use the graphs themselves. So instead of using the button, you can actually go to a graph. Let's just use Sunday for example here. What you'll do is you'll left click and you'll get this little information box telling you, okay, well, this is the time you selected. Immediately following that left click, you're going to do a right click, and then you'll select the first option. We're going to add a new in-bed time here. That starts the sleep period, or the in-bed time. Now let's go somewhere else. Let's get the out of bed. When did they come out of bed? Let's right here should be good. You want to left click in the area that you need, and then you can right click to accept out of bed time. Immediately following that click, you'll get the new in bed time. I'm sorry, the new sleep period followed by the highlighted area. Now, another feature that is allowed here is the ability to fine-tune the selection on the graph itself. Let's go ahead and start this over. Let's go down to Monday and try this. All right, so I'm going to say, okay, right here, this is my embed. And the subject wrote down that he went to bed at 11 p.m. that night. Well, 10:57 and choosing 3 minutes to the right may seem a little tedious for the mouse, so we'll just start there again. But this time, you can use the left and right arrow keys on your keyboard. So I'm going to go ahead and press right a few times until it gets to 11. There it is. So now I can just immediately right click, add new embed time here. Immediately it sets it to 11 p.m. I can do the exact same thing for the out of bed time. Well, 5:44 in the morning isn't quite right, so I want to go to 5:50 a.m. Again, once you're done, right click, accept out of bed time. And there you go. Now you have that method of doing it. The last one, or actually no, another feature of doing this is that you can actually zoom in on these graphs to increase the accuracy of this. It may seem kind of strange at first, but zooming in is actually quite easy. So let's do Tuesday, for example, here. We know somewhere in this area, right here, they went to bed and actually got up. So, but I don't need all this other information to the left and right. So I want to left click and hold and begin dragging while still holding the mouse and then let go. Immediately, I get the zoomed in area of my selection. Again, I can right click where I want to start, add new bedtime here, and then when I'm ready, I can accept it over here. And then I'm done. I've now added that time in there at a much higher accuracy. Okay. The last option, which is actually exclusive to ActiSleep devices, is auto scoring. So let me go ahead and zoom out here and demonstrate that. This option will automatically examine and estimate sleep periods for the entire data file. As you see, auto scoring buttons right here. So let's go ahead and click this, and it will let you know if you happen to have other sleep periods added in here. So because this will take care of the entire file, we're going to go ahead and allow it to clear them for us. So as you can see, in very, very little time, it was able to get done what may have taken us 30 minutes or longer. All right, so what I want to continue on here is now the sleep scoring information that is now provided to you in the bottom right corner. As you can see right here. This will give you your in-bed, out-of-bed times that you selected, or that sleep scoring has done for you, the auto scoring has done for you. It will show you sleep onset, latency, awakenings, and even total counts for that sleep period. Another neat feature here is just in case that you've added a sleep period or auto scoring has done it for you, but you notice it just does not seem right at all. Like it was just a few minutes off, or based off what the subject told you, it's just not right at all. You can just click on that day. Let's say Sunday. For some reason, waking up at 1:30 in the morning was just not right for that subject. We know he woke up at, let's say, 6. So we're going to click Edit right here for the out of bed. And we can just increase this to 6 and hit Save. Immediately following that, we'll notice that the graph is updated and everything is good to go. So I've demonstrated the 3 possible ways of adding sleep periods to your data file. And this is useful information because, well, adding them manually improves accuracy, and you know for certain that this data matches. Auto scoring gets the job done faster and does have a really good job of doing so, and it also reduces the amount of time that you need to go in there and click Add and Accept and all that. Okay, now I want to move to graphing. Okay, so you see this graph that we have right here. This is called our 48-hour graph, or dual plot graph, where it shows the current date plus the following day in a good 48-hour period from left to right. On the left side from the center, that's the current day. So let's say right here, from here to here is Saturday, and from this point all here is Sunday. This helps kind of to align the sleep periods for people who go to sleep during the night times. So as you can see here in the highlighted areas, they're all towards the center. Help you give an idea when they're actually going to sleep, if that's shifted or not. We also provide a 24-hour graph. You can easily just go up here and just click 24-hour. This works for people who maybe sleep during the day, who works in shifts. It just kind of lines everything up in a 24-hour period, and so you get to see what you have here. Okay. Another view, let's see here, which is also exclusive to ActiSleep devices, is called the Actogram view. If you look down toward the bottom center of the screen, you'll notice that we have the normal view, what you see here, which is comprised of 24 and 48 hour, and then we have the Actogram view. Go ahead and click that. Immediately, completely replaces the graph, and now you have this new view. This view is like a 30,000-foot view of a subject that helps identify circadian rhythm issues. You can also notice patterns in sleep periods based off the provided activity data. So I want to actually make a small change here. I want to say graphs per page. I want to increase this. Doing so kind of it shrinks the graphs. Let's just go up to 30. Okay. Immediately, you should notice where there was minor activity to much more activity. More specifically, right here. Right off the bat, you should be able to notice that during the first week or so, this subject was sleeping normal times, and then all of a sudden, abruptly started sleeping in a shift, completely like a 12-hour shift here. So at a glance, this definitely helps you identify possible sleep issues. And this is the Actogram view. So I'm going to go back to normal view. Okay. Now, when you have added all your sleep periods, you can now export this information. Down here in the bottom right is the Save Sleep Report. Clicking this brings you up a small little dialog and gives you several options here. The first option, create CSV sleep summary with all sleep scores, allows you to export all that data into a CSV format for external source use. A little bit easier for people who like working with CSVs, especially with other applications like SAS or something like that. The second option, create PDF, which is by default selected for you, will output the graph either on all one page or multiple pages, if you don't mind that, and then it will show the times on the graph. What you see right here, this 12, 6, 12, like this, will show that on there. So we're going to go ahead and hit create. We'll give it a name. We'll just give it a basic name. All right. So immediately, it didn't take any time at all. We now have our saved exported graph here. So immediately you notice that all of our graphs are on one page here, all highlighted with our sleep periods. Everything's ready to go right there. If we scroll down to the second page, you'll notice we have our sleep scores in a summary view. Everything that you saw from each sleep period, it's summary data right here available for you. Go ahead and close that out of that. All right, so that right there pretty much gives you a good feel for the sleep analysis tool available in ActiLife. There's a lot more other neat features in here. You can definitely mess with the graphs to get them to meet your needs. You can change the colors. You can definitely work with this to get it going, especially with the custom algorithms. This definitely provides you a lot more power with your data. So now we're going to move to PLM Analysis. This is another tab in ActiLife right next to Sleep Analysis. The PLM tool detects and scores periodic leg movements in patients with PLM disorder or restless leg syndrome. To use the PLM Analysis tool, you'll need at least one or two ActiGraph ActiSleep devices. Each device should be worn on the base of the foot using a strap or tape, or it's taped to the foot. We actually have some help documentation available for you in ActiLife. This brings up this webpage to our help center, and this gives you a good feeling how to use the PLM tool and where to place the device. We even provide a picture to help demonstrate location of the device. A lot of information can be obtained from our website, and it is definitely encouraged to go there to learn more about the tools to get and have that reference at hand at all times. Go and get that out of here. Also, what's important here is that the AED files that you get from your device must be in 1 second epic lengths. As I mentioned before, during the download process, you can select 1 second to get that done. So if you downloaded your device already, and let's say you have a 60-second file, and you still have that device with you, you can download to a 1 second. Another neat trick here is go ahead and download the device in 1 second epic in an AED format. What you can do is you can actually, if let's say you downloaded in 1 second, but you need it in 60, and you gave away your device already to another patient, and you no longer have the source data, you can reintegrate your data from 1 to 60 without losing any data. So we're going to go ahead and select an AGD data for the left and right leg here. It's left, and here's the right one. Okay. Immediately here, and what may seem familiar, is the sleep periods located in the top left corner of the PLM Analysis tab. These files already came pre-populated with sleep periods available to them. So we're going to go ahead and click the first one so we can make use of the graphs that are actually provided based off this data here. Immediately, what you see here is that we have the activity data immediately within that sleep period. We only show the sleep period. We don't show what's to the left or right of it, just what's there. What you see in black right there is the activity, and the blue and red bars are the onset and decay thresholds. And what you see down here in the second the second graph, let's see if I get this right. Second graph is the bout data. What was considered to be enough activity to be a bout for PLM. Let's see. Okay. Same other features with the graphs as well here is that you can zoom in. You can zoom in up on certain areas to get a better visual of the data there and make more sense of the actual thresholds and what they mean. Down here in the bottom left, you'll notice where you can actually change these defaults that we provided for you. Right now we say 50 on the onset and 40 on the decay. Immediately, let's just go ahead and change this 50 to a 60. And you notice the graphs reload, and that now we have less bouts that occurred due to this change. Use this information to create the data that you need back from the PLM analysis. One thing I want to go ahead and cover is the ability to export these reports as well. You'll notice the Export Report button in the bottom right corner. We're going to go ahead and just leave this. This is just some basic bioinformation that will help keep your reports unique. Go ahead and hit Generate. Now, this report does not immediately come out as a PDF. It's more of a web page of sorts because of its uniqueness, and it gives you more flexibility over what you can do with the actual report itself, because you can print it or you can print it to PDF. This actually shows the overall status for PLM in each individual limb itself, and as well as for both limbs combined, what your sleep periods and the combined sleep period values are. Again, you can save this as an HTML file, so it will open up in your browser, or you can print it and have it available to use as a hard copy or two other means of saving it. So go ahead and close that. So, as you can see, you don't need multiple devices or software tools to do data scoring, sleep scoring, or PLM analysis. So, it actually works in your favor when you have all the tools at hand and only have to deal with one device. All right, so just a second here. Okay, one feature that is definitely would be useful for our clinical users out there is the ability to create on the fly and on download is our clinical reports. First off, I'm going to go ahead and show how you would do that on download. So we're going to go back to our devices area, and we're going to say, okay, we just got this device back from our patient. Let's go ahead and download the data, but we got to be quick. This has got to be something I can give out to the subject immediately. I'm going to hit download, and we're already familiar with this screen, but you'll notice this option right here. It's create clinical report on download for ActiSleep monitors. Checking this box sets defaults for you and kind of helps you along. As you notice upon clicking it, I can't actually change anything here. That's because the clinical report requires certain values that cannot be changed. It's 1 second, right? Clinical 60 seconds. It requires a 60. Okay. Just confirming this. When you create a clinical report on download, it requires the AED file to be in a 60-second format just to keep everything aligned. So we'll go ahead and that's just one way of doing it. The second way of doing it, just in case you happen to grab a 60-second file later and didn't generate it then, is that you can go to Tools and then Generate Clinical Report PDF. So I want to go ahead and use this file right here, the one we were just working with. This takes a second or two, but it generates all the work that I basically have been discussing with you on the fly immediately. Another great feature about this is that, let's say you downloaded from the device, but you and you click create the clinical report then. So there will not be any sleep analysis done on that file, obviously. There will be no sleep periods. Well, from the ActiSleep device, it will actually run the auto scoring for you on the fly, and it will generate those sleep periods for you. So we're going to go ahead and click yes, and we want to open this. And now we have our full report on this subject here. This report includes wear time validation, so it will give you information about when the device was worn and when it wasn't. And again, if you did this after already downloading a file and worked with it, this data will change. It provides you information on energy expenditure, information in cut points, and lo and behold, the sleep graphs from the sleep analysis area. Again, it puts them all in one, it tries to put them in one page for you, and then another familiar area is a sleep period breakdown, a summary of all the sleep information, or all the sleep periods, excuse me. And so that concludes that area of the clinical reporting. Again, this is a really, really great feature for our clinical users who want to hand something off to, let's say, their subjects. That gives them a great view of their data in all different kinds of fields.
Hey, Richard, we've got a question. I think this leads well into what you're going to talk about next. So Melissa asks, is there a way to convert data or sleep analysis output to a text file or something usable with statistical software like SPSS or SAS? So can you go ahead and demonstrate how we can export multiple subjects into to an easily...
Like let's say a DAT file?
Nope, like in our data scoring, how we can compare subjects.
So there is a new feature which is called batch comparison of sleep scores. What we can do here is that we can gather multiple AGD data files that have sleep scoring period or sleep periods already added in there, and we can just go ahead and run calculations on that, and we can start working with comparisons. Immediately you'll notice that we got some counts up here for all the different for all the files, but what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and export this information out into a CSV. Oh, I'm sorry, I've been corrected. It's not a CSV. It's an Excel document. We already have it pre-selected here for you. We're going to create a batch view in an Excel document file with hourly, daily, and summary details. And the last option there is add calculated sleep score worksheets. Right there allows us to do the batch processing. So we're going to go ahead and hit export. We'll give it a simple name here. Okay, immediately, and it didn't seem to take that long either. You notice we got our Excel document open, and since we only checked one option, we're not going to get a lot to see here immediately. So, but you'll notice down here in the second tab called Sleep Scores, we have all of our data available. Everything we had in that grid when we exported it, everything from every sleep period is available here. All this can be used in analysis for external sources, available to you in a very easy to use format. So it's no longer proprietary, it's definitely easy for you to work with. So hopefully that covers the question on getting the data out into a way to use it outside of ActiLife. So that was one of our new features. Again, that was batch comparison of sleep scores, excuse me. Another new feature that's been recently added to the ActiLife software suite is wireless initialization of ActiSleep Plus devices. Excuse me, ActiSleep Plus devices. So I want to go ahead and demonstrate really quickly just how to get to that area. You'll notice in the bottom we have a big area of the AMP Plus wireless. immediately the button down here, View Wireless Devices. So if you happen to have some here, we'll go ahead and fire this up and see what we have. Since we're here at the office, we have quite a lot of all these devices just sitting around being worked with right now. So we're going to wait for one of them to show up. Let's just use this first one as an example here. One of the neat features is that device could be sitting on someone's desk right now or on someone's person, and I'm able to see immediately information about that device. The sample rate, how much data has it recorded, when it started, and what modes were turned on when it was initialized. As we can see here, steps, heart rate, lux, inclinometer, and obviously wireless. So this is great for a quick overview, a quick snapshot of what that device is doing immediately. But to initialize these devices without having to attach it to your computer at all, we'll just go ahead and hit initialize here to demonstrate. Sort of a familiar area, just more drilled down towards the wireless devices. You notice we can enable heart rate for certain devices that allow that. Data summary, a little bit more detailed information from the device without actually having to plug it in. And again, we can have the device start immediately or start at a certain time and then provide the subject information. Okay, so this is going to be the next greatest thing moving in with ActiLife is the ability to no longer have to worry about cables, but to wirelessly manage your devices and not have to worry about messing with cables, fumbling around with USB ports. Wireless is definitely the way to go coming with ActiLife. So go ahead and close this out here. Another neat feature that I didn't say yet is the ability to initialize multiple wireless devices, which is still making its way in here. As you can see these checkboxes here. If these devices were all with me right now, I can hit Initialize Check Devices, and I can unify the data coming across as what I want, and then provide uniqueness to each device down here. And when I click Initialize Wirelessly, it takes care of that. The devices will all start at the same time, and I'll be ready to go. One great scenario with this is that if you had a subject come into your office, you no longer have to ask them to remove the device off their person. You can ask them just to have a seat in a chair, and you start up the software and go from there, and you let them know, all right, we're done here. And that'll be it. There's no plugging in or anything like that. So we have some upcoming features I want to go ahead and briefly go over. One of the upcoming features is it's called remote monitoring. Basically, we're going to be using smartphones for bidirectional communications between the patient and the doctor or clinician. ActiGraph's web services can store communication transcripts and can be used for data analysis even before the study ends. Raw data can be stored and analyzed within the web services solution, so this becomes a really good asset to your tools when working with patients in our devices. And another feature is smartphone log diaries. Patients can log sleep or activities as they happen from their phones immediately. Smartphone apps prompt users for activity-specific notes. Let's say, my apologies. Let's add something here real quick. More information, the better. Do I need to go back one? I just covered remote monitoring. Okay. Okay. Let me get the view in here real quick so you can have a look. Okay. As I was saying, smartphone log diaries. Certain information like the nighttime sleep and afternoon naps, they can enter in immediately right there. So it's a little bit easier on them. This kind of replaces the log diaries that they had to write in manually that the doctor may have had to print out for the user. It just kind of replaces the whole log diary, where this information can be synced immediately so the doctor can obtain it real quick, where they can respond back saying, okay, all right, you went to bed kind of late or you woke up kind of early or too late. It provides insight on what the user is doing. And this also integrates with data stored in the remote monitoring system. So we tied the two together to make the best of the data. All right, so that ties up the ActiGraph ActiLife 6 Sleep Analysis webinar. Now will be a great time to ask us some questions. We still have a few minutes left, so if you have any questions for us, ask us and we'll definitely be able to knock that out for you. Okay. And one thing, and while you're asking the questions, one thing I would like to point out here, again, that Daniel's already mentioned, is the importance of the survey following the end of this webinar. That survey definitely helps us out as software developers and as a company as a whole. It drives our development. Your answers and results definitely make a difference on how we mold ActiLife for you. So if you have any ideas or you want to provide some structured criticism back, something that's in there just does not meet your needs, but you believe it will benefit if we change it, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. So,
all right, we have a couple of questions I think that we can answer. One is about the difference between the GT3X, our GT3X devices, so that includes our new wireless, our WGT3X Plus, our GT3X Plus, and then all of our ActiSleep devices. I would say that really our ActiSleep devices can do everything that the GT3X devices. So currently our ActiSleep Plus can do the same thing as a GT3X Plus. However, what the ActiSleep allows you to do is some of those features that we mentioned today. So for example, the Actogram view is only available for ActiSleep devices. Our custom sleep algorithms are only available, our PLM tool, and our clinical sleep report. So that's kind of why we mainly focus today on the ActiSleep devices. You can still do the standard sleep scoring. Also, the auto scoring is only available for ActiSleep devices. So you can still do the standard sleep scoring with the GT device. We just wanted to make sure we showed some of those features. So Phil asks, what is the plan for downloading data wirelessly? That's something we're actually working hard on right now.
Yes.
One of the things to note with our newer devices, they do record at really high frequencies, but regardless of that, we're working on two things. One is to automatically generate some of that daily epic label on the device, so that way we can download that wirelessly in a short period of time. And one of those additional things that we'll be adding is the ability to have a wireless streaming information of someone's sleep times or how well they're sleeping, and some calorie information. All that stuff will be available real time. Yeah. So Neil Glover asks, Glover asks, is there any plan for allowing user formatting of reports? That is something we're actively aware of, and we know that most of our reports currently are PDFs. We have some things in the work to make them either Word formatting or RTF format, so that way you have access to that and can quickly add your notes. We'll have section for notes and diagnosis, all that information. We have a question about using the Sedai algorithm. Is it correct that we only need to turn on one axis when using the Sedai algorithm? That is correct. Our Sedai and our Cole-Kripke algorithm only use the first axis, which we call is the y-axis, up and down movement. Okay. So I think that we've got a few other questions that are a little technical. So what we're going to do for all the questions we haven't answered yet, we'll make sure that we either try to answer them personally, or we also post all that information up on our webinar site on our homepage at theactigraph.com/webinars. So look for an answer from us shortly. Lastly, I think before we go, I'd like to again say thank you to everybody for coming to the webinar and sticking around with us. And again, please fill out the survey, and I hope everybody has a great day.
All right. Thank you very much.